Hello everyone, today we are going to learn how to add and subtract algebraic fractions. Right, now in order to be proficient in adding and subtraction of algebraic fractions, you need to know how to expand and simplify algebraic expressions first. Okay, so if you are not familiar with this, I would suggest that you watch my previous video on the expansion and simplification of algebraic expressions prior to this video. Okay, so get familiar with this first before coming to watch here. Okay. Now another thing that I'll be sharing with you today is called a technique called boom boom pow. Right? So if you can remember this technique called boom boom pow, then you should be able to start off with all addition and subtraction of algebraic fractions questions. Okay. And last thing that this is more of a reminder. Okay. Usually when students are working on addition and subtraction of algebraic fractions, they will tend to expand the terms mentally in their head. I will encourage everyone to avoid doing that. Okay, because usually when students do that, they have a higher tendency to expand their terms wrongly, and as a result, the signs get error. Okay, there's errors in the signs, and the final answers will be affected. Okay, so just remember to write down the terms first. Okay, don't mentally expand the answers, and just proceed with it. Okay, so right now let's take a look at what this boom boom pow means. In primary school, we have learned how to add basic fractions, correct? Okay, and what do we do during primary school? We need to make the denominators the same. So what's the common value for the denominator here? 35, right? Okay, so let's do that now. We create a common denominator. Okay, so in primary school, we need to have a common denominator. So I need to multiply by 7 to make it 35. Now when I multiply by 7 to the denominator, I should also multiply by 7 to the numerator. Okay, now the same thing, when I multiply by 5 to the denominator for the second term, I should also multiply by 5 to the numerator. Otherwise, I'll be changing the question. The fraction will be totally different. Okay, so I need to actually multiply to both the numerator and denominator when I'm making the denominators the same. Okay, and when I do this, I'll get 14 over 35 plus 15 over 35. Then my final answer, I just add the two numerators. I'll get 29 over 35. This was what we have done in primary school, correct? Okay, now today I'm going to teach you a new technique called boom boom pow. Okay, so how does boom boom pow works? I'll copy back the same fraction again. Okay, now boom boom pow works this way. What I'll do now is I'll take the denominator, I'll multiply by the numerator here. Okay, and I'll take this denominator, I'll multiply by the numerator here. So it's boom and boom. Okay, so 2 times 7, I get 14. 5 times 3, I get 15. Okay, in between I have a plus here, right? So I'll write a plus here, plus 15. Okay, then pow. Pow means 5 times 7. Okay, so I'll get 35. My final answer will be 29 over 35. Right? So observe the difference. Is it the same? Right? It's very similar, right? Okay. So the use of boom boom pow is useful if you are not very familiar with making the denominators the same. Right? So this technique will be useful for students who do not know how to create a lowest common multiple for your denominator. Okay. So I'll just repeat again. Boom. So you take the opposite denominator. The second term's denominator, multiply with the first term's numerator. Boom again, you take the first term's denominator, multiply with the second term's numerator. Then pow, you multiply both the denominators together. So boom, boom, pow. Okay, and you end up with the same answer. Right? So are we clear about this? Right, so with the understanding of boom boom pow, we're going to apply it the same way on algebraic fractions. Okay, so let's take a look at this example here. Okay, we have two fractions. We're doing a subtraction here. Okay, so boom, I will take 3 multiplied by 3a minus b. Boom again, I will take 5 multiplied by 2a plus 5b. And pow, I will multiply 5 with 3. Okay, so we can write down the answer in this manner. 3. Okay, now when I multiply, I'm multiplying the whole numerator. So I need to put in a pair of brackets here. Okay, then I see a minus here, I'll write a minus here. Boom, so 5 multiplied by 2a plus 5b. Okay, then pow. So the whole thing over 5 times 3, I'll get 15. So this is boom, boom, pow. Okay, 3 multiplied by 3a minus b minus, okay, the minus comes from the question. 5 multiplied by 2a plus 5b. And the whole thing over 15, pow. Okay, yeah, so this will be this, right? Now, what I want all of you to take note, right? Please do not mentally expand the terms in your head, and then you just write down here 9a minus 3b minus 10a. Then what students will be writing is plus 25b. Okay, this is a very common mistake. So please do not mentally write down this as a expanded answer in your question. Okay, just do the boom boom pow with the brackets in place. Okay, now the next step is we need to apply our distributive law. Right? So 3 is applied to 3a, 3 is applied to negative b. Negative 5 is applied to 2a, negative 5 is applied to 5b. Okay, so we'll expand it now. So positive times positive, we get positive, right? And 3 times 3, 9. There's an a here, so 9a. Okay. Next, we apply 3 to negative b. So positive times negative, we get negative, right? A minus here first. Okay, 3 times 1. Okay, when there's no number in front, it's a 1 there. So 3 times 1 is 3, and b, so just follow with the b. Okay, next one. Negative 5 times 2a. So negative times positive, you get negative, right? A minus first. Okay, 5 times 2, you get 10, and there's an a that follows, so 10a. Okay, lastly, negative times positive, negative, write down the negative first. 5 times 5, 25. Okay, and then the b follows. Okay, so this is the proper way to write down your expansion. Okay, the whole thing divided by 15. Okay, there's a lot of times where students forget the denominator as well. Okay, now this is very crucial. So, okay, a fraction cannot suddenly become a term without the denominators. Right? So please remember to always include your denominator when you are writing down your answers as well. Okay, we continue. Okay, next we will do a rearrangement. We'll rearrange our terms. So 9a minus 10a minus 3b minus 25b. Okay, the whole thing divided by 15. Okay, then finally you just use your calculator, or you can do this mentally. Right, I'll advise you to use you use your calculator if you're not strong in mental calculation. So 9a minus 10a, we get negative a. Right, negative 3b minus 25b, so press negative 3 minus 25, you get negative 28, and the b follows. Right, the whole thing over 15. This will be our answer for this question. Are you clear about this? Right, next we take a look at another example. Now for this question, we have an integer subtracting a fraction. Now we can convert this integer to become a fraction by inserting over 1. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. We'll convert this whole number to a fraction. So I'll get 1 over 1 minus 5 minus 6x over 4. Right? Okay, the next step is to apply our boom boom pow. So boom 4 times 1, boom 1 times 5 minus 6x, and pow 1 times 4. Right? Okay, so 4 times 1 you get 4. Okay, minus. Now take note, we are applying our boom here, but the boom here is applied to the whole 5 minus 6x. We are subtracting the whole numerator. So we need to have our brackets here. Right? Okay, so this is a very crucial part here. So even though there are no brackets here, but because when we are multiplying the boom here, right, it's actually 1 bracket 5 minus 6x. So if you want, you can write a 1 here also. Okay, it helps you to remember the brackets. Right? And then power 1 times 4. So over 4. Right? Okay, next we apply our distributive law. So 4 is by itself, we don't need to care about it. Negative 1 is being distributed to 5 as well as negative 6x. Okay. So now we will do a distributive law. So 4 we just copy down. Negative times positive gives us negative. Right? 1 times 5 is 5. Okay. The next step, negative times negative gives us positive. So plus 1 times 6 is 6, and followed by the x. Okay. The whole thing over 4. Okay. Now last step, we need to simplify this. So this one you can just use a calculator. 4 minus 5, we get negative 1. And plus 6x just follows. And this will be the final answer. Are you clear about this? Right, now let's take a look at the harder example. Right, so this time we have a number with some brackets here. Okay, and we are subtracting the fractions still. Okay, so let's use boom boom power again. So if we apply boom boom power, you'll take 6 multiplied by 3x, you'll get 18x. Okay, and then you can take 4 multiplied by 2, you get 8 bracket x plus 2. Okay, so this one you can actually multiply straight away. Okay, so now we'll get this. So we'll have 18x minus 8 bracket x plus 2. This is boom and boom. Then now we want to power. So power is 6 times 4, we get 24. Right? Now, after this, we need to apply our distributive law. So we continue. So you'll have 18x. Right? Negative times positive will give us negative. And 8 times 1, you get 8. So 8x. Okay. Again, negative times positive. Okay. Negative 8 is being distributed to 2. So negative 8 times positive 2. Right? Negative times positive, negative. Write down the minus first. 8 times 2, 16. Okay, just write it down like this. Then over 24. Right, last step. Okay, 18x minus 8x, we get 10x. Okay, minus 16 divided by 24. Okay, now observe all your numbers. Are you able to divide by any other numbers when you observe all these numbers? Yes, it's possible, right? Okay, we can divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Now, before we actually do this, right, we must make sure that we are able to divide all the terms by the same number before we can do this, right? So otherwise, let's say I have a question like this. I have an answer like this. Let's say I have 10x minus 13 over 24. In this case, can I just divide 10 with 2 and 24 by 2? Then I cannot do that, right? Okay, because I cannot just write 5 and then I just write 12 here. Okay, this is not correct because I'm not being fair to 13, or I'm not being fair to 10 and 24. Why must I reduce 10 and 24 but I'm not reducing 13, right? Okay, so whenever we want to do any division, we must make sure that it is consistent for all the terms in the question. If it's not consistent, then I cannot do any more simplification, right? So let's go back to here. So over here, I can actually divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. My final answer will be 5x minus 8 over 12. Okay, can I divide anymore? I can't, right? Okay, so this will be the final answer. Okay, now boom boom power has the limitation as what we observed just now. So boom boom power, we can get the answer, but at situations like this, right, we need to do one more step to get the final answer, right? So some of us, we may be familiar with getting the LCM for this question, right? So I'll show you how to actually get the answer using the LCM as well. Okay, so this is using boom boom power. We can also get the answer using the normal LCM method. So if we look at 4 and 12, what is the common denominator for this question? 4 and 6, sorry. Okay, so the common denominator is actually 12. What I need to do here, I need to multiply by 3. I need to multiply by 2. Okay, so I can do that. So if I multiply by 3, I'll get 9x over 12. Okay, minus, if I multiply by 2, right, 2 times 2 will give me 4. So 4 multiplied by x plus 2 over 12. I can do this as well. Right? Then after this, I'll just combine them together. So when I combine them, it becomes 9x minus 4 bracket x plus 2 over 12. Right? Okay, the next step is the same. You just apply the distributive law. So I'll get 9x minus 4x. Okay, negative times positive, negative. So I'll get minus 8 over 12. Okay, then simplify. I'll get 5x minus 8 over 12. Okay, this is using common denominator method. So as what you can observe, right, we have two different methods to solve this question, getting the same answers, right? So it doesn't matter which method you choose, as long as you are confident with the method, you're comfortable with the method, any methods are possible to solve the question, right? So I leave it up to you to choose which method you want. You can use boom boom pow if you are not familiar with obtaining the lowest common multiple for a question, or you can just use the common denominator method where you easily can identify what is the lowest common multiple, right? In any sense, right, the most important thing is do not mentally expand your brackets in your head, okay? Always have the need, okay, or you know, have the idea that you must write down the expansion, write down the brackets, and when you're doing your expansion, you will be more careful, right? Okay, so that's all for today's lesson. Hope you have gained some knowledge. Okay, we'll see you again.